Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cultural Depot. Thank you so much for watching. We are so happy to have you here. This is Black History Month, and we are celebrating this month every Tuesday in February with Touchpoint Tuesdays. Please make sure to go to the website and inquire about how you can receive the Zoom link so that you can get in on the discussions. Also, visit the website daily for newly uploaded Black History videos. And without further ado, let's get started. To kick off Black History Month here at the Cultural Depot, we decided to take a look at the history of Black History Month to get a better understanding of the need to celebrate. This led us to Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black History Month. We discussed who he was and his lifelong commitment to understanding the history of our community. He was dedicated to moving our community forward. Carter Godwin Woodson was born on December 19, 1875, in New Canton, Virginia, to parents who were formerly enslaved. He was born at the tail end of Reconstruction and raised through the Jim Crow era. From the 1870s through the early 1900s, violent voter suppression and intimidation tactics, including lynchings, were common practice against blacks. He grew up poor and found that his best route out of poverty was to get a formal education. In 1903, Woodson graduated with a degree from Berea College in Kentucky. He went on to the University of Chicago seeking a place in graduate school. Unfortunately, the university did not accept his original degree, so Woodson completed a second undergraduate degree as well as a master's and graduated in 1908. He went on to graduate in 1912 with a PhD from Harvard University, the second to do so after W.E.B. Du Bois. On September 9, 1915, along with associates James E. Stamps, Alexander Jackson, Dr. George Hall, and William B. Hargrave, Dr. Woodson established the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which is still active today. From this association came a quarterly called the Journal of Negro History, first printed in 1916. Struggling to support himself and the association, Dr. Woodson took on a job as the principal of Armstrong Manual Training School in Washington, D.C. in 1918. In 1920, 3 years after becoming an honorary member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Dr. Woodson addressed his brothers in Nashville, Tennessee, with a speech that started Negro History and Literature Week within the organization. Shortly after, it was changed to Negro Achievement Week. On February 7, 1926, expanding outside of his fraternity, Dr. Carter G. Woodson initiated the first celebration of Negro History Week. He chose the second week of February because blacks across the country, as well as others, celebrated the lives and birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln during that time. From 1926 to the early 1930s, Dr. Woodson focused his studies on the predicament of the black community to determine how the community ended up where it was, and in so doing, he pinpointed poor education. In his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, Dr. Woodson talks about how the educational system indoctrinated everyone, not just blacks, but everyone to believe that blacks were inferior, insignificant, and incapable of contributing anything positive to society. In his book, he can be quoted as saying, "When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. He will find his proper place and he will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will protest until one is made for his use. His education demands it." With the understanding that such negative indoctrination could not be undone without the ability to see positive images of the Negro in history, Dr. Woodson released the Negro History Bulletin. The bulletin served as educational material for high school teachers and provided ideas for lessons on Black history. It debuted in 1936. Dr. Woodson put a painstaking amount of effort behind creating the bulletin and similar text because he was of the mind that those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history. Dr. Carter G. Woodson worked tirelessly to ensure that we were aware of our history, to show us that we had worthwhile traditions, and to make sure that we did not become a negligible factor in the thought of the world. He was determined to prevent our extermination. In 1953, 3 years after his death, we see that Negro History Week is still being celebrated. Here, New York Teacher News has featured Negro History Week on page 1. Negro History Week had its ebbs and flows following Dr. Woodson's death. But in 1969, a group of students at Kent State University began holding sessions for a longer version of Negro History Week that they called Black History Month. It wasn't until 1976 at a bicentennial celebration that President Gerald Ford encouraged all Americans to honor the contributions of African Americans. Black History Month had become a national holiday. So if ever asked, what is the meaning of Black History Month and why does it need to continue? You can answer in Dr. Woodson's own words. This is the meaning of Negro History Week. It is not so much a Negro History Week as it is a History Week. We should emphasize not Negro history, but the Negro in history. What we need is not a history of selected races or nations, but the history of the world, void of national bias, race hate, and religious prejudice. Thanks again for watching, and please remember to visit our website, theculturaldepot.com, so that you can stay up to date on newly released videos throughout the month of February. Don't forget about Touchpoint Tuesdays, every Tuesday in the month of February at 6 p.m. Central Time. Hope to see you there.